Hello folks, my name is Mark and this is Why I Hate the World. How you guys doing? So this is about the Oregon standoff. So this one might be a little long. I apologize in advance. Okay, so a little bit of background. In 2014, a Nevada cattle rancher named Cliven Bundy caused kind of a shitstorm when he refused to pay over $1 million in taxes and cattle grazing fees to the Bureau of Land Management because he was like running his cows and stuff, on federal land, right? And so when the federal government came to collect, they were going to seize his property, and instead of paying, he got a bunch of crazy anti-government militia types to flock to his ranch and come to his rescue. So the government decided not to cause a bloodbath and backed off. And all this really did was embolden these, asshole militia groups around the country. So now, a couple years later, we have an armed militia group that has forcibly occupied the offices of a federal wildlife preserve in Harney County, Oregon. And this group just happens to be run by Cliven Bundy's two sons, who are named Amon and Ryan. I don't know what the hell kind of name Amon is. I don't know, that must be like, biblical or some shit. I don't know. So anyway, the motive for this occupation apparently is because of the case of the Hammond brothers, who are a couple of ranchers in Oregon. And what happened with them was that they were sent to prison for starting a fire on their own land that spread to federal land. And what was going on was that they were trying to burn out some invasive plant species, and it spread to this federal land. And the problem was that they didn't get a permit. Like, they applied to get a permit and it was refused because the BLM was already doing a burn off in the land around theirs, and they didn't want their fires to like join with the Hammond's fires and then cause like a fucking gigantic, fire that would put people in danger and shit. So the Hammonds decided to just do their burn off anyway, without a permit, and they got busted. And they went to jail for a year, both of them. And then they were let out, after a year. But a judge has, it turns out that the minimum sentence is 5 years, so they had to go back to jail. And this was the event that was used as an excuse for this militia group to go occupy this fucking building, right? Now, you could probably tell by my tone that I'm like, I don't really support these militia types. And you'd be right. I'm the last guy that says that you should always obey the government, but the truth is that the government is made of people and people can be corrupt. But these people aren't objecting to a corrupt government. They're objecting to the entire concept of a federal government. You see, Cliven Bundy and his ilk, they're what you call sovereign citizens, right? And if you don't know what the sovereign citizen movement is, it's a right-wing movement with roots in the anti-tax and white supremacist movements. And what it is that they don't recognize the federal government. Some of the more crazy groups, they don't even recognize like the state government. And the only ones that they do recognize would be like your local, federal, like county level, right? So this is why 2 years ago when Cliven Bundy got busted, he tried to pay his fees to the county, right? And of course they can't accept it because the fees don't belong to them; it belongs to the Fed. It's like trying to pay your cable bill at the fucking gas company. I mean, it's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you're trying to pay your gas bill at the electric company and shit. Doesn't work that way, right? But that's because he only recognizes the fucking county government. He thinks that they're like, the highest form of government that should be allowed and shit, right? That's why Cliven Bundy said that he would surrender, but only to his local sheriff, because he thinks the local sheriff is like the highest, form of law enforcement that should be allowed. It's fucking ridiculous. And here's the thing. What these guys want, first and foremost, is to use public lands for their own personal gain. So Cliven Bundy wants to graze his cows on federally protected land. He wants to do it for free. Okay? Like, now I've heard people comparing these guys to the Occupy movement, and from a few years ago, and I think that's complete fucking bullshit, because Occupy at its heart was about wealth inequality. It was about raising awareness about wealth inequality and student loans, and also holding the people accountable who, the bankers accountable who caused the housing bubble and basically crashed the fucking economy, for the last 8 years. That's what Occupy was about, right? These guys aren't about anything like that at all. What these guys want is that they're about exploiting federal land to make money for themselves. That's what it is. They want to take federal land, this is land that you paid for with your tax dollars, right? That we've decided to set aside for, national parks, or to be wildlife preserves, so that, endangered species and stuff can be protected. They want to seize this land, steal it they don't want to pay for it. They want to take it. They want to fucking use it for their own commercial gain so that they can make money for themselves, right? That's what these guys want. They want to slash and burn it, and they want to run their fucking cows all over it, and so that they can make money, and it's complete, total fucking bullshit, and it's basically the opposite of the Occupy movement. This guy, Cliven Bundy, he's not poor. I mean, he has, he's a fucking cattle rancher, and he has hundreds, if not thousands, of heads of cattle, grazing on federally protected land, shitting all over it, eating all the fucking plants, pushing out the endangered species, right? A thousand head of cattle, when you sell that, you can make roughly $700,000 in profit, right? This guy's not fucking poor, and he wants to use land that he doesn't own, right, to make more money. It's just fucking horseshit, dude. I mean, that's the thing, is that part of doing business is paying taxes. It's paying fees to your government, right? If I go and I open a fucking sandwich shop, I have to pay, business taxes. I have to pay fees to the city. I have to pay all kinds of different, that's the cost of doing business, right? How come everybody else has to pay this shit and these guys don't? What makes these guys so fucking special that, they think they don't have to pay while everybody else does? I mean, it's because he's got 100, the reason why is because he has 100 other armed fucking gun nut lunatics backing him up, and that's why he's not paying. I mean, that's all you gotta do, I guess, to just enforce your own fucking laws, just to get guys with guns to follow you. I mean, that's the thing, it's just get a gang. That's what it is, alright? That's basically what this guy's doing. It's a fucking gang to enforce his will. I mean, they have groups like this in other countries, right, in the world. They call them fucking cartels. They call them warlords. They call them terrorists, all right? And, how come now, the media is treating these guys with fucking kid gloves? I mean, I'm not the first person to notice it. That whenever you see talk about this in the media, they always say armed protesters, instead of what they fucking are, fucking borderline terrorists. I mean, Jesus Christ. And that's the thing, is what's going to happen now? I mean, are they going to actually do something about this? Cliven Bundy never got held accountable. He never paid his due. As far as I know, he still owes the fucking money. I think our government is just too chicken shit afraid of another Waco type event happening that they don't want to confront these people. And I could understand that, all right, I'm the last person who wants a fucking bloodbath. But are we just going to let them go? I mean, what the fuck, dude? I mean, what do these people have to do before we start taking them seriously? I mean, do they have to kill somebody? Is that what has to happen before the cops will, enforce the law? I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, do something. Do anything. I don't know. Surround them or something. I don't know. Just the way it looks now is that it looks like they're just letting them go. I mean, fucking Christ, dude. No wonder this happened, right? I mean, no wonder that these guys went and decided to just up the ante and take over a fucking building. If you're not even gonna force this other guy, Clive, fucking Bundy, to pay his goddamn fees. It's a joke, dude. So just remember that. Whenever you see these people, these gun nut militia fucks say that they're real patriots, right? Because they're not fucking patriots, all right? These people are the opposite of patriots. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about your rights. They don't care about anything like that. All they care about is taking land away from you that you paid for through your taxes so that they can use it for their own personal use. That's basically just fucking thievery, is what it is. All they care about is making, stealing shit that doesn't belong to them so that they can make money out of it. I mean, what's the difference between that and any other common thief? I don't know. I mean, and I guess that's the one caveat that I've seen so far is that this occupation doesn't seem to be going well. The local town that surrounds the area, they're not with these guys. They're telling them to go home. The Hammonds themselves want nothing to do with it, and they actually turn themselves in. So kudos to those guys, right? They don't want to see. They're basically seeing these people exploit their case for their own personal use, and they just said fuck it and left. Good for them. I'm glad that they decided to go to prison, and I hope that this gives them some, they get some leniency for this act. Right. I mean, and one thing I did see online, which I thought was fucking hilarious, was that people are like sending these guys dildos in the mail, which was awesome. I saw like apparently one of the leaders of this Patriot group is like, people keep sending them fucking sex toys, and that's awesome. Keep doing shit like that, people. That really makes me happy to see that the masses of people out there in America are just not buying into this shit, and hopefully this will just peter out. Once they realize that nobody fucking supports them, this will just peter out, and the occupation will collapse, and they'll just go home, right, and go back to their fucking pathetic lives and shit, and we won't have any bloodshed.